pick up on where we were just before the break and the Black Lives Matter movement. Kevin, I want to come to you. I really got the point that Graham was saying about, it's another game, it's another T-shirt. Players will have Black Lives Matter written on the back of their shirts when the Premier League returns. Is this just T-shirt tokenism, or is it important that whatever steps are taken?
Look, Rob, I think it's important that the message still gets out there, and the players obviously, do back it. That is fantastic. But ultimately, it's about the results and change. That's what ultimately we need. But, again, football's such a big platform, to see the players wearing the T-shirts. We've seen certain clubs take knees and stuff like that during their warm-up games, etc., and training, which is great. But ultimately, what does it all relate to? It relates to the end product is results. If there's no results moving forward, it's just more lip service, it's just more tokenism. So I'd like to think we've hit a certain spot, a vein, which is going to cause change. That's what I hope for. That's what I'm sure a lot of people hope for, because we're in 2020 now. Let's be honest. We shouldn't even be speaking about this. But the problem is we have to deal with it. And I'd love to be able to see some change that changes football and then can move into society for the better forever.
Yeah. Because, Graham, the point that I really got from you is sometimes things can be used and it can be, right, OK, we've done a little bit on that, let's move on to the next thing. And the key here, from what I'm hearing both of you saying, is that actually the momentum of this needs to keep going. It's not just wearing a T-shirt for 1 week.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, fundamentally, I think you need to have the symbolic gesture of what we're seeing, and that's really important. I'm not dismissing that, but you have to then be able to sustain something positive and real afterwards. And I think it's hugely symbolic that the players are replacing their names on their back of the shirts for the first 12 games that we see. So the 2 matches on Wednesday and then the round of matches, the next round of matches, replacing their names with Black Lives Matter. I think that's hugely significant, and it shows the solidarity between the whole of the support the sport, and that's it's a very good thing to do. But ultimately, it can't then be, okay, well, look, we've done that. Let's continue ignoring some of the fundamental things that we need to change. Let's use this platform. Let's use this period where everybody is talking about equality and the need to address these barriers and issues that a lot of people are facing. And let's make sure that there's an impact that we can look back on and say that what we've seen now was a catalyst for change, and it changed things for the better, and it gave people more trust, more hope, and more belief that they're living in a society that gives them real opportunity.
Yeah, Kevin, I really felt the pain, the prejudice that you've been subjected to during your career as a footballer and in life in general as well. And every father wants to protect their son, don't they? And I wonder about Tyrese. He's 20 now. He's at Stoke, and I wonder what your fears are for him, or is your hope that perhaps he will have a better journey than those who have gone before?
Well, you that's what you want. You hope and you pray that the racism doesn't really get to him or affect him like it did me when I was a youngster or coming through or throughout my career. But he's had to deal with some parts of that already. Being a footballer, you have to, and being black as a footballer, you're gonna have to deal with certain situations. Now, it's all about making things better moving forward. Now, he's 20 years old. He's at a point in his career where he's just starting to break through into the Stoke first team. And, you know, that's hard enough as it is, let alone having to deal with more added pressure of, you know, racism, etc., etc. So as a dad, I don't want him to have to deal with it, but he will have to deal with it. I know he'll have to deal with it. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's a humble guy. He's a humble son. And I truly believe he knows what to do. He knows how to handle it. But, you know, there are many players out there who maybe won't be as calm or as smart in how to handle these things. And, you know, these things rearing their ugly head could cause them some trauma. So, you know, I only hope for the best for my son and all of these youngsters who are coming through in this wonderful game of football. I think football is such a wonderful game and it's such a powerful game. But, you know, we need the results to reflect that now because, you know, we're at that point now where it's needed. It really is.
Something, sorry,
Yeah.
Rob, just jumping in again. Something that, you know, I find completely unacceptable now as well. And this is my hope where things are slightly different to when we were growing up, Kevin, is that I would hope that anybody that is with your son, if he suffers a racial abuse, is there to support him, to report what has happened and to hold that person accountable. For me, there's a responsibility that we all have to take, whether you're a supporter at a game when fans are allowed back and you hear some of the vitriol that comes out of ignorant people's mouths, and we're seeing more of that, unfortunately, given the way we seem to live in a polarised society at the moment. But there's a responsibility for people, whether they're involved directly or indirectly, to actually escalate the complaints up the chain so that the governing bodies and the authorities can do something about it. And, you know, I'm a great believer in the fact that in itself, you deal with one issue like that and you stop the next 10 because people go, wow, you know, I can't say that because I'm going to get into trouble for that. And unfortunately, with ignorant people, it sometimes takes that in order to break the chain. And I'm not saying it's your son's responsibility, but if he's in a position where he's suffering abuse, I would hope and pray that other people around him would stand in unity with him and do something about it.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point, Graham. That is a fair point.
We shall see. Football dressing rooms, perhaps fundamentally different places now from when Kevin and Graham were playing in them. Let's hope so.